Mel Cipollone.
Mr Chair, thank you. I think there's still some more to discuss on part one, Mr Chair, before moving on to part two. So I thought I'd stand to take a call. It's a bill that I'm particularly interested in. Have been having quite robust discussions with my colleague Nanaia Mahuta on this particular bill. Mr Chair, just to start off, as I've just come to the House, I really just want to state very clearly Labor's position on this bill before I get into the specifics and the detail around part one. Mr Chair, just in case you're in any doubt, Labor will be supporting this legislation as it does form part of the ongoing reform of financial products and providers started by Labor and continued by National, although we do consider it to be premature as the Financial Markets Authority is not yet established and the Securities Act review is not complete. It's been passed ahead of other decisions that will impact on the whole regulatory framework, Mr Chair, so that is a concern for us. Mr Chair, we acknowledge that this bill addresses a number of the weaknesses in the current supervision regime for corporate trustees and statutory supervisors. It establishes a licensing regime for trustees and supervisors of securities and retirement villages. The regime will be administered by the Securities Commission until the Financial Markets Authority is established. So we do support it, but not without concerns because, as I said, Mr Chair, it's been passed ahead of other decisions that will impact on the whole regulatory framework. So just wanting to get into the specifics around part one, Mr Chair, because I'm sure that's what you want me to do. Part one really, part one is the preliminary, what you've got is, and this part contains the so looking at the purpose of the bill, basically what we see is that the bill purports to protect the interests of investors and enhance investor confidence in financial markets by requiring persons who wish to be appointed as trustees, statutory supervisors and unit trustees to be capable of effectively performing the functions of trustees, statutory supervisors or unit trustees. And that's something that we actually find very interesting. As I said, me and my colleague Nanaia Mahuta were having quite a detailed discussion about this. It also requires trustees, statutory supervisors and unit trustees to perform their functions effectively and enables trustees, statutory supervisors and unit trustees to be held accountable for any failure to perform their functions effectively. So that really is the gist of part one and the purpose of the bill, Mr Chair. Now the law is being changed to provide for a regime that supervises the supervisors, and although the role of trustees was included in the review of financial products and providers undertaken by Labor, further concerns about the model of supervision they provided were raised by the string of finance company collapses. Concerns included perceptions of trustees' lack of independence and capability. The bill contains a number of provisions designed to ensure that trustees, statutory supervisors and unit trustees comply with their obligations. The Securities Commission may seek pecuniary penalty and compensatory orders against those who fail to comply. And under the bill, statutory supervisors and unit trustees are to report to the Securities Commission breach of any issuer obligation and notify the Commission of the steps that they intend to take as a result. It also requires that they report to the Securities Commission when any issuer they supervise is likely to become insolvent and notify the Commission of the steps they intend to take as a result. And it also requires that when requested by the Securities Commission that they attest as to the issuer's compliance with the issuer obligations. In circumstances where they cannot so attest, they must state the reasons why. The bill is being progressed prematurely, Mr Chair. It could have waited to be wrapped up with the Securities Act reforms and the establishment of the FMA. However, since the Financial Markets Authority Bill has also been progressed at the same time. This may minimise some of the confusion when the bill becomes law. It is concerning, Mr Chair, that the Securities Act review deadline has been delayed until 2011. This bill removes, Mr Chair...
I call the Honourable Member Michael Woodhouse.